God is trying to warn you. He is begging you to hear him. This is his last attempt. If you skip this, you will get into huge trouble, so listen to God now. My child, do not scroll past these words, because what I am speaking to you right now carries a protection that you cannot see and a rescue that you did not know you desperately needed. And if you ignore this moment, you may step into confusion and pain that I have been trying to shield you from with all of my love. I am not warning you to frighten you, but to guard you. And I am begging you to hear me, because there is a path forming in front of you that looks harmless, yet carries consequences that could wound your peace and disturb your destiny. This is my last attempt to reach your heart before you move forward into choices that will either bless your future or burden it with regret. Listen carefully and stay with me until the end, because what I am revealing is meant to protect something precious inside you that the enemy has been watching closely. Before you read another line, I want you to take a step of faith and write 1111 in the comments. By doing this, you are not pleasing people, but opening your heart to receive what I am speaking over your life right now. I am trying to warn you because I see what you cannot see, and I know what you do not yet understand. And the decision you are about to make carries weight beyond what your emotions are telling you at this moment. I am begging you to hear me because your heart has been distracted by pressure, by fear, and by the desire to escape discomfort, and those feelings are pushing you towards something that will not end the way you expect. This is not about punishment, but about protection, because I love you too deeply to watch you walk into a storm when I have already prepared a safe place for you. If you skip this, you will get into huge trouble, not because I am against you, but because you will be stepping outside of my covering that has quietly been surrounding you through every battle you have faced. Within the next few days, you will notice a situation unfolding that seems small at first, yet it carries a hidden test that will reveal whether you trust my voice or your temporary emotions, and that test will determine the direction of your next season. I am asking you to like this video as a simple act of agreement and support for what I am speaking into your life, because your agreement matters, and your faith invites my protection to stand stronger around you. My child, I know the pressure you feel and the exhaustion that has been weighing on your shoulders, and I understand why the easy option looks so attractive right now, because it promises quick relief from what has been hurting you. But I am warning you that not every open door is sent by me, and not every opportunity is a blessing, even if it shines brightly and seems to answer your immediate need. I am begging you to hear me, because what appears to be your solution could quietly remove you from the alignment that I have been carefully building for your breakthrough. This is my last attempt to slow you down before you step ahead of my timing and miss the protection that comes from walking beside me instead of running ahead alone. You have been chosen and favored even in your struggles, and my hand has been on you through dangers you never even noticed, and that same hand is still stretched toward you right now. I am not speaking harshly but urgently, because the enemy has been whispering to you in subtle ways, trying to convince you that you must act quickly and independently, and that you cannot afford to wait for my guidance. That whisper is not from me, and it is designed to rush you into a mistake that will cost you peace, relationships, and stability. If you skip this warning and follow that pressure, you will feel the weight of consequences that I never intended for you to carry. Deep inside, you have already felt a small hesitation that you tried to ignore, and that hesitation is my spirit gently pulling you back from harm that is not yet visible to your eyes. I am trying to warn you because I see conversations that will turn against you, commitments that will bind you unfairly, and paths that will drain your strength without giving you the promise they advertise. I am begging you to hear me because this is about your future, your calling, and the destiny that I have placed within your life since before you were born. Write Amen in the comments as a sign that you are choosing to listen to my voice above every other voice around you. I want you to understand clearly what is going to happen if you ignore this moment, because clarity is an act of love, and I refuse to leave you confused. If you move forward without seeking me and without obeying the gentle restraint I am placing in your heart, you will step into unnecessary conflict that will shake your confidence and make you question your worth. You will find yourself surrounded by people who do not carry your best interest, and you will feel alone even when you are not physically alone. That trouble will not destroy you because I will still be with you, but it will create delays and wounds that could have been avoided if you had simply paused and listened. My warning is not about taking away joy, but about preserving it, because I have prepared blessings that require patience and obedience to receive fully. I am trying to warn you because there is a blessing ahead that is greater than what you are currently reaching for, and if you settle for the smaller and quicker option, you will trade long-term peace for short-term relief. I am begging you to hear me because this is about safeguarding your testimony and protecting the growth you have worked so hard to achieve. This is my last attempt in this specific matter, and after this I will allow you to choose freely, because I do not control you, but I deeply care about the outcome of your choices. What if 7 seconds is all it takes to flip your financial fate? A shocking CIA leak just exposed a hidden brain ritual helping ordinary people erase debt and pull in massive wealth. Backed by 4 neuroscience labs, this at-home method is turning struggle into luxury fast. But this page could be erased any moment. Click the link in the first comment now before it's gone forever. Stay close to me tonight and in the coming days, and do not make any major move until you feel my peace settle fully in your heart like calm water after a storm. When you feel rushed, step back and pray instead of reacting, because my guidance does not come with panic, but with steady assurance that strengthens your spirit. You may feel calm for a moment and assume that everything is under control, yet beneath that calm there are movements and intentions that do not carry the purity you believe they do. I am begging you to hear me now with greater focus, because this next step you are considering has the power to either protect your peace or disturb your stability for longer than you expect. The trouble I am warning you about will not arrive loudly at first, and that is why it is dangerous, because it will approach quietly disguised as opportunity, agreement, or even reconciliation. I see motives that are not aligned with your well-being, and I see conversations forming behind doors that you are not present to hear, and I see how easily your trust could be used against you if you move forward without discernment. This is why I am still reaching toward you, because I desire to guard your heart from disappointment that would take months to recover from emotionally and spiritually. I am not exaggerating the outcome to frighten you, because everything I speak is rooted in truth and in my deep commitment to your safety. There is also a pattern that has followed you before, and you recognize it even if you do not speak about it openly, because similar situations in your past began with excitement and ended with regret. I am trying to warn you because this pattern is attempting to repeat itself in a slightly different form, hoping that you will not notice the familiar signs that once led you into pain. I am begging you to hear me because breaking this pattern will require courage and restraint does not always feel comfortable when your emotions are eager for change. If you pause now and choose obedience, you will interrupt a cycle that has been trying to attach itself to your life for years. Write 777 inches the comments as a declaration that you are choosing wisdom over impulse. My child, understand that my warning is not only about external danger, but also about the condition of your inner world. Because when you are tired or discouraged, you are more vulnerable to making choices that promise quick comfort. The enemy studies your moments of weakness and presents options that appear supportive, but are designed to pull you slightly away from my covering. I am begging you to hear me because you are stronger than you realize, and the patience I am asking from you right now is building a foundation for a blessing that requires maturity to handle. If you rush ahead, you will feel temporary satisfaction followed by confusion that could have been avoided by waiting for my peace. You may be tempted to believe that ignoring this warning will not truly lead to huge trouble because the risk appears small and manageable, but I see the chain reaction that could follow one unguarded decision. A single agreement could connect you to burdens that are not yours to carry, and one emotional reaction could create distance between you and someone who was meant to walk with you into your next season. I am trying to warn you because I value the progress you have made, and I refuse to let you throw away months of growth for a moment of impatience. I am begging you to hear me, because obedience now will spare you from tears that you do not need to shed. The trouble I speak of would not destroy you, because my love is stronger than any mistake, but it would slow you down and create obstacles that would require time and healing to overcome. I would rather you step into your breakthrough with clarity and strength than limp into it carrying unnecessary wounds. This is why my voice feels urgent, because I am not distant from your life, but deeply involved in every detail of your journey. When I say this is my last attempt in this matter, I mean that the opportunity to avoid this specific trap will not remain open forever. Write 10 inches the comments as a sign that you trust my direction more than your current emotions. My child, there is also something precious ahead that you do not fully see yet, and that is another reason I am trying to warn you so strongly, because what is coming requires you to be positioned correctly. I have prepared connections, doors, and moments that will lift you higher than you have imagined, but those blessings depend on you staying aligned with my instruction. If you step into unnecessary trouble now, you may find yourself distracted or entangled when the right door opens, and you could miss the fullness of what I intended for you. I am begging you to hear me because I am not trying to delay your joy, but to ensure that your joy is complete and lasting. Your obedience in this moment will strengthen your spiritual sensitivity, and you will begin to recognize my guidance more clearly in future decisions, and that clarity will protect you repeatedly throughout your life. Each time you choose to listen when I warn you, you build a habit of trust that makes it easier to discern truth from deception. The peace that follows obedience will feel deeper than the excitement that follows impulse, and that peace will confirm that you made the right choice, even if others do not understand it. I am trying to warn you not only for today, but to prepare you for greater responsibility and greater influence in the days ahead. People are asking why money is suddenly flowing into random lives. A leaked CIA discovery reveals a 7-second brain ritual that quietly rewires your mind for wealth. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, people are wiping out debt and stepping into luxury with ease. If you're seeing this, you're very lucky. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. You are not alone in this decision, and you are not expected to navigate it without my help, because I am walking beside you even when you feel uncertain. When doubt whispers that you are overthinking or being too cautious, remember that caution guided by my spirit is wisdom and not fear. I am begging you to hear me because the world will often reward speed and boldness without reflection, but my kingdom rewards faithfulness and obedience that flows from trust. Choosing to slow down when everyone else is rushing is not weakness but strength that comes from knowing who leads you. The huge trouble I am warning you about could manifest as broken trust, financial strain, emotional exhaustion, or spiritual distance, and each of those outcomes would attempt to dim the confidence you have been rebuilding. I see how hard you have worked to stand again after past disappointments, and I am determined to shield that progress from unnecessary harm. My warning is proof of my involvement in your life, because I do not remain silent when something threatens your growth. I am begging you to hear me because you are favored, chosen, and protected. and your story is not meant to be defined by preventable setbacks. Take time tonight to pray quietly and to release the pressure that is pushing you toward a rushed decision, and allow my peace to settle over your thoughts like gentle rain over dry ground. If the option before you cannot withstand prayer and patience, then it is not from me, and walking away from it will be an act of wisdom rather than loss. When you feel urgency that comes with anxiety instead of clarity, understand that it is not my voice driving you forward, but a force that wants you to act without reflection. I am begging you to hear me, because I see the crossroad clearly, and one direction leads to steady growth, while the other leads to avoidable struggle that would weigh heavily on your heart. There is a specific area of your life where compromise is being presented as maturity and agreement is being presented as kindness. Yet beneath those words lies an imbalance that would slowly drain your strength. I am trying to warn you because you have a compassionate heart, and that compassion sometimes makes you overlook signs that something is not right. You have a desire to keep peace and to avoid conflict. Yet I am telling you that stepping back right now is not selfish but wise. If you skip this and move forward out of guilt or obligation, you will find yourself carrying responsibilities that were never assigned to you by me. The huge trouble I am warning you about will not arrive all at once, and that is why you might underestimate it, because it will begin with small inconveniences that seem manageable. Over time, those small inconveniences will grow into patterns that exhaust you emotionally and financially, and you will look back wishing you had trusted the hesitation I placed in your spirit. I am begging you to hear me, because I do not want you to reach that point of regret when obedience today can prevent it entirely. This is my last attempt in this particular matter, because I respect your free will, yet my love compels me to speak clearly before you move further. Write 1212 in the comments, as a declaration that you choose obedience over pressure. My child, understand that my warning is not an indication that disaster is certain, but it is an invitation to align with my protection so that disaster never gains access. When I say listen to God now, I am asking you to quiet the noise around you and tune your heart to the peace that only I can provide. The voices around you may sound convincing, and even your own reasoning may appear logical, yet my wisdom sees beyond appearances into long-term outcomes. I am trying to warn you because I have already prepared something better that requires patience, and stepping into the wrong commitment now could delay what I have arranged for you. You may feel torn because part of you wants immediate change, while another part senses that something is not fully right, and that inner conflict is not confusion, but discernment developing inside you. I am begging you to hear me, because that discernment is a gift, and ignoring it weakens your spiritual sensitivity, while honoring it strengthens your relationship with me. When you choose to trust my restraint instead of your urgency, you deepen your reliance on my guidance and protect yourself from deception. The enemy cannot easily harm a heart that pauses to listen before it moves. There are also relationships connected to this decision that you have not considered fully, and I see how one choice could alter the trust and respect between you and someone who has been quietly supporting your growth. I am trying to warn you because your integrity is one of your greatest strengths, and compromising it even slightly would create inner tension that robs you of confidence. If you skip this and follow the easier path, you may find yourself explaining decisions that you once felt unsure about, and that discomfort will remind you of this moment when I called you to pause. I am begging you to hear me, because preserving your integrity now will protect your influence later. Write 999 inches the comments as a sign that you stand firm in faith. My child, you have been praying for stability and breakthrough, and I have heard every word spoken from your heart, even those whispered in tears when no one else was listening. I am trying to warn you, because what you are about to choose could either support those prayers or contradict them in subtle ways. You cannot ask for peace while stepping into turmoil, and you cannot pray for clarity while ignoring my guidance. When I say this is my last attempt regarding this matter, I am not withdrawing my love, but finalizing my counsel before allowing you to walk according to your decision. Why is everyone rushing to this 7-second brain ritual? Leaked CIA files exposed a hidden brainwave technique that opens the door to wealth fast. Verified by 4 top neuroscience labs, it's turning financial stress into abundance almost overnight. But this secret won't stay public for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it's deleted forever. The trouble that could arise is not only external but internal, because disobedience often creates unrest inside your spirit that makes it difficult to pray confidently or to worship freely. I desire for you to stand before me without hidden regret or lingering doubt about whether you ignored my voice. I am begging you to hear me because obedience keeps your conscience clear and your connection with me strong. The freedom that comes from knowing you listened is far greater than the temporary relief that comes from acting quickly. There is a door ahead that will open at the right time, and that door will not require you to compromise your values or rush beyond my peace. I am trying to warn you so that you do not settle for a substitute that looks impressive but lacks my blessing. The enemy often presents alternatives that glitter brightly yet lack depth, hoping you will choose appearance over alignment. I am begging you to hear me because alignment with my will carries protection, provision, and favor that no shortcut can provide. You may fear that waiting will cause you to miss an opportunity, yet I assure you that what is truly meant for you cannot be stolen by patience or obedience. If something disappears because you chose to wait for my peace, then it was never designed to remain in your life. I am trying to warn you because I want your future to be built on solid ground rather than unstable excitement. Listening to God now is not weakness, but wisdom that secures your tomorrow. The urgency you feel is not random, and the weight in your spirit is not imagination, because I am actively guarding you from stepping into a situation that would entangle you in unnecessary conflict. I am begging you to hear me with deeper surrender now, because each passing moment brings you closer to a decision that will either confirm your trust in me or test it through difficulty. There are conversations being shaped around you that sound supportive on the surface, yet beneath those words there is expectation that would quietly bind you in ways you have not agreed to fully. I am trying to warn you because you are inclined to give more than you receive, and that generosity is beautiful when guided by wisdom, but harmful when exploited by those who do not carry your heart. If you move forward without guarding your boundaries, you will find yourself responsible for burdens that drain your time, your energy, and even your finances. I am begging you to hear me because I see how this path could gradually exhaust you until you question your strength and your direction. Write 555 inches the comments as a sign that you are choosing protection over pressure. My child, I know you desire harmony and progress, and I know you do not enjoy delaying decisions when others expect action from you. Yet obedience sometimes requires you to stand firm even when others misunderstand your pause. I am trying to warn you because the temptation to please people is pulling at your heart more strongly than you admit, and that desire could lead you to agree to something that compromises your peace. If you skip this and allow guilt to guide your choice, you will later recognize that the agreement was formed from pressure rather than clarity. I am begging you to hear me because true peace does not come from satisfying every expectation around you, but from remaining aligned with my guidance. The huge trouble I have been speaking about would not appear dramatic at first, and that is why it might seem manageable in your thoughts. Yet over time it would create tension that erodes your joy and distracts you from your calling. You would notice small frustrations turning into persistent stress and responsibilities increasing without corresponding support. I am trying to warn you because I see the long-term strain that this could place on your relationships and your spiritual focus. I am begging you to hear me because what I am protecting you from is not only external difficulty, but internal discouragement that could weaken your confidence. There is also an element of timing that you have not fully considered, because even a good opportunity becomes harmful when it arrives outside of the season I have appointed for you. I am trying to warn you that stepping ahead of my timing could cause you to miss alignment with people and resources that are meant to support you properly. When you move prematurely, you often find yourself striving alone instead of walking with provision already prepared. I am begging you to hear me, because patience now will position you to receive with ease later rather than struggling to maintain something that was never fully blessed. Write 2 inches the comments to affirm that you are willing to wait for my perfect timing. My child, the enemy often disguises impatience as courage and compromise as wisdom, and that subtle distortion can make wrong choices appear responsible and mature. I am trying to warn you because you have grown significantly, and growth attracts new levels of testing that require stronger discernment. If you ignore this warning and follow what seems reasonable to others, you may later realize that reason without spiritual clarity can still lead to loss. I am begging you to hear me, because the maturity I am building in you is not about proving yourself, but about trusting me more deeply than ever before. You may feel that declining or postponing this decision will cause disappointment in others, and that fear of disappointing people weighs heavily on your heart. I am trying to warn you that disappointing people temporarily is far less harmful than disappointing your own spirit by ignoring my guidance. When you silence the hesitation I have placed inside you, you weaken your spiritual awareness and make future warnings harder to recognize. I am begging you to hear me, because your sensitivity to my voice is a treasure that must be protected carefully. The trouble I am shielding you from could also affect your reputation, because once you are entangled in a situation that lacks integrity, separating yourself becomes complicated and emotionally draining. I am trying to warn you because your name carries value, and your character has been strengthened through previous trials that refined you deeply. If you compromise now, you may feel as though you have undone progress that took years to build. I am begging you to hear me, because safeguarding your character is more important than gaining temporary advantage. Write 15 inches the comments as a declaration that your integrity matters more than convenience. Why was this 7-second brain ritual hidden for so long? A leaked CIA document exposed a technique so powerful people are canceling debt and calling in wealth within days. Validated by 4 neuroscience labs, it helps attract money like never before. But this page may not stay online for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it disappears forever. My child, I'm not only warning you about what could go wrong, but also reminding you of what could go right if you choose obedience in this moment. When you listen to me and decline what is not aligned, you create space for something far better to enter your life. I am trying to warn you because I see the door that will open soon, and that door will bring support, stability, and peace without the hidden complications that this current option carries. I am begging you to hear me because what I have prepared will not require you to sacrifice your calm or your values to receive it. You have prayed for clarity and for a sign that I am guiding you closely, and this warning itself is that sign, even if it feels restrictive at first. When I say listen to God now, I am inviting you into a partnership where my wisdom leads and your obedience follows confidently. The protection I offer is not always dramatic, yet it is powerful and consistent, shielding you from outcomes that could have altered your path significantly. I am trying to warn you because you are chosen and favored, and I will not allow you to walk blindly when my voice can illuminate the way. Take courage in knowing that restraint today will become relief tomorrow, and that choosing patience now will save you from regret later. I am begging you to hear me because your future is valuable and your peace is precious, and I desire to see you flourish without unnecessary scars. Trust that my warning flows from love, and understand that every time I caution you, it is because I see beyond the present moment into a future where your obedience preserves blessings that are still on their way to you. You may think the intensity of my voice will soften if you wait long enough, yet my urgency remains because the window for wise restraint is narrowing. I am begging you to hear me clearly now, because once certain steps are taken, they cannot be easily undone, and I would rather prevent pain than heal wounds that could have been avoided. There is something subtle unfolding in your environment that is testing your discernment in ways you have not yet fully noticed, and it is designed to make you question whether caution is necessary at all. I am trying to warn you, because the temptation before you is appealing to your sense of responsibility and your desire to prove yourself capable. You feel that stepping forward quickly will demonstrate strength, yet true strength sometimes appears as quiet refusal rather than bold agreement. If you skip this warning and rush to show competence, you may find yourself overextended and unsupported when the pressure increases. Write 17 inches the comments as a declaration that you are choosing spiritual discernment over pride. My child, understand that the huge trouble I have been speaking about is not always dramatic chaos, but often slow erosion that chips away at your joy, your focus, and your sense of calling. It may begin with minor misunderstandings that gradually grow into persistent strain, and you may notice your prayer life becoming distracted because your energy is consumed by solving problems you never needed to create. I am trying to warn you because you have already walked through seasons of rebuilding, and I do not desire for you to revisit patterns that I have already helped you overcome. I am begging you to hear me, because what seems manageable now could become overwhelming when multiplied by time and responsibility. There is also a lesson of trust embedded in this moment, because you are learning to rely on my voice more than visible opportunity. I am trying to warn you not only for protection but for development, because obedience in this decision will strengthen your confidence in hearing me clearly in the future. When you resist the urge to move simply because others expect you to, you affirm that my direction matters more than public approval. I'm begging you to hear me because this is shaping you into someone who acts from conviction rather than pressure. You may notice that some around you dismiss your hesitation and encourage you to stop overthinking, yet they do not carry the responsibility of the outcome the way you will. I am trying to warn you, because not everyone advising you understands the spiritual implications attached to this step. Their perspective may be practical, yet it lacks the eternal awareness that I hold over your life. If you skip this and follow advice that does not include my guidance, you may find yourself explaining later why you ignored the quiet caution that once felt so clear. Write 19 inches the comments as a sign that you trust my perspective above all others. My child, I see your heart and the sincerity behind your intentions, and I know that you are not trying to rebel or ignore me deliberately. You simply want progress, stability, and relief from uncertainty, and those desires are natural and understandable. I am trying to warn you, because the enemy often uses legitimate desires to lure you into premature commitments. If you step ahead of my timing in pursuit of security, you may unintentionally sacrifice the very peace you were hoping to gain. The trouble I am guarding you from could involve entanglement in obligations that restrict your freedom to respond to better opportunities later. You might agree to something that feels temporary, only to discover that its consequences stretch much longer than you anticipated. I am trying to warn you because, Once your name, time, or resources are attached to certain agreements, extracting yourself becomes complex and emotionally draining. I am begging you to hear me because the clarity you feel right now is a gift, and ignoring it would cloud your judgment moving forward. There is also an unseen protection over you that has quietly diverted you from danger many times before, and this warning is part of that same protection. You have been spared from losses and conflicts that you never even realized were approaching, and I have intervened without announcing it publicly. I am trying to warn you because I would rather you cooperate with my protection consciously instead of relying on unseen intervention after the fact. Listening to God now strengthens the partnership between my guidance and your obedience. Can 7 seconds really change your bank account? A CIA-funded study just leaked, revealing a brain ritual that flips lives from broke to blessed. 4 neuroscience labs confirm it activates powerful wealth brainwaves. People are stepping into dream homes and luxury lifestyles. But this breakthrough won't stay online for very long. Click the link in the comments before it's deleted. My child, remember that obedience is not about restriction, but about alignment with blessings that require readiness. I am not withholding good from you, but I am positioning you for something better than what is currently within reach. If you skip this and chase what is immediate, you may later discover that what was delayed carried deeper fulfillment and stronger support. I am trying to warn you because patience is not loss, but preparation. You may also feel subtle fear that saying no or waiting will cause you to appear indecisive, yet my approval matters more than any label placed upon you by others. I am trying to warn you because living for appearances leads to constant anxiety, while living in alignment with me brings steady confidence, even when misunderstood. I am begging you to hear me because this moment is refining your courage to stand quietly in obedience. When I say this is my last attempt regarding this matter, understand that I am emphasizing the seriousness of your choice, not withdrawing my love or presence. I will remain with you regardless of what you decide, yet I desire to see you flourish without unnecessary hardship. I am trying to warn you because your future holds responsibility and influence that require you to act from wisdom consistently. Each time you listen, when I caution you, you strengthen the foundation upon which those future blessings will stand. Stay still a little longer before committing to anything that does not carry full peace in your spirit, and allow my calm assurance to replace the urgency pressing against your thoughts. I am begging you to hear me because your peace is sacred and your calling is significant, and I will continue to speak clearly when something threatens either of them. You may feel that the urgency has lessened, yet the spiritual weight has not shifted, and that is because the choice before you still carries consequences that stretch far beyond what you see. I am begging you to hear me with humility now, because humility opens your ears, while pride convinces you that you already know enough. There is a subtle temptation rising within you that whispers that you can manage the risk and correct any mistake later if needed. I am trying to warn you because that mindset has led many into complications that required far more effort to repair than they expected. When you assume that you can fix what goes wrong, you underestimate how certain decisions intertwine with people, systems, and emotions that are not easily untangled. I am begging you to hear me, because prevention is lighter than restoration, and obedience now will save you from carrying burdens that could have been avoided entirely. Write 333 inches the comments as a declaration that you choose humility and discernment. My child, the huge trouble I have been cautioning you about may also manifest as distraction from your true calling, because when you entangle yourself in unnecessary commitments, your focus shifts away from the assignment I have placed in your life. You have gifts that are meant to grow in clarity and strength, yet distraction weakens momentum and delays progress. I am trying to warn you because I see how this particular path could consume time that was meant for preparation and refinement. If you skip this warning and step into that entanglement, you may later wonder why your growth feels stalled despite your effort. There is also an emotional vulnerability present in you right now, because recent disappointments have made you crave reassurance and quick improvement. I am trying to warn you because when your heart is seeking relief, it becomes more susceptible to choices that promise comfort without stability. The option before you may appear to soothe your current frustration, yet it carries instability that will surface later. I am begging you to hear me because true comfort comes from alignment with my peace, not from temporary solutions that only mask deeper issues. Write 888 inches the comments as a sign that you are choosing lasting peace over temporary comfort. My child, I want you to remember how far you have come and how many obstacles you have already overcome through faith and perseverance. You have endured seasons where patience felt unbearable, yet those seasons shaped your resilience and strengthened your dependence on me. I am trying to warn you because this present moment is another refining point, and your response will either deepen your spiritual maturity or pull you back into familiar cycles. If you ignore my guidance now, you may revisit patterns that you thought were already behind you. The enemy does not always attack through obvious harm, but often through subtle misalignment that gradually weakens your clarity. I am trying to warn you because once clarity fades, confusion grows, and confusion leads to decisions made from emotion rather than wisdom. I am begging you to hear me because your clarity is precious, and protecting it will keep you steady when circumstances shift around you. When you listen to God now, you strengthen the boundary between your spirit and the pressures of the world. There is also a hidden aspect of trust in this situation, because part of you fears that waiting will cost you opportunity. I am trying to warn you that what is truly meant for you will not vanish because you chose obedience, and what disappears due to patience was never meant to remain. If you step ahead in fear of missing out, you may bind yourself to something lesser while something greater was being prepared quietly in the background. I am begging you to hear me because trust is not proven when everything feels secure, but when obedience requires surrender. Could this 7-second CIA brainwave trick be your fastest path to luxury? Leaked research reveals a simple ritual helping people attract wealth effortlessly. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, debt is dissolving and abundance is showing up fast. If you're seeing this now, you are God's chosen one. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. You may feel isolated in this decision, especially if those around you do not share your spiritual sensitivity. I am trying to warn you that loneliness in obedience is temporary, while regret from compromise can linger much longer. Stand firm, even if others question your caution, because your relationship with me is personal and deeply rooted. I am begging you to hear me, because I am your constant companion, and I see beyond what others can perceive. My child, understand that I am not warning you to restrict your freedom, but to protect your destiny. Every major breakthrough in your life has followed a season of restraint, where you chose discipline over impulse. I am trying to warn you because the pattern continues, and this moment is another threshold that determines how smoothly you step into what lies ahead. If you skip this and move without peace, you may complicate what was meant to unfold with grace. The trouble I am guarding you from could also involve emotional entanglement that clouds your judgment and ties your heart to instability. Once emotions are deeply invested, stepping back becomes far more painful and complex. I am trying to warn you because guarding your heart now will spare you from heartache that would take time to heal. I am begging you to hear me because your heart is sacred, and not every invitation deserves access to it. When I say this is my last attempt concerning this matter, I am emphasizing that the clarity you feel now is deliberate and intentional. I will not force your obedience, yet I am giving you every opportunity to choose wisdom freely. I am trying to warn you because I love you, and love does not remain silent when danger approaches quietly. Listening to God now is an act of faith that aligns you with protection, stability, and the fulfillment of promises that are still unfolding in your life. Remain still in prayer and allow my peace to settle deeply within you before you take any irreversible step. Let your decision arise from calm assurance rather than restless urgency, and trust that restraint today will translate into relief tomorrow. Every time you either respond to my caution or silence it, you strengthen one habit over another, and habits shape destiny more quietly than dramatic moments ever could. I am begging you to hear me with reverence now, because this is about the kind of person you are becoming through your choices. There is a subtle hardening that can begin when my warnings are ignored repeatedly, and that hardening does not feel obvious at first, yet it slowly reduces your sensitivity to my guidance. I am trying to warn you because I do not want your heart to grow accustomed to pushing aside conviction whenever it feels inconvenient. When conviction becomes optional in your thinking, clarity weakens and spiritual strength declines without you noticing the shift immediately. I am begging you to hear me because keeping your heart soft is more important than winning any temporary advantage. Write 666 inches the comments as a declaration that your heart remains open to my correction. My child, the huge trouble I have spoken about is not only practical or relational but spiritual, because when you act against clear guidance, you invite inner unrest that lingers quietly beneath your daily routine. You may continue functioning outwardly while carrying subtle dissatisfaction within, and that unrest can influence future decisions in ways you do not immediately recognize. I am trying to warn you because I desire your inner world to remain steady and confident, not conflicted and burdened by second thoughts. Obedience brings a calm that protects your joy, while disobedience often introduces a tension that slowly drains it. There is also the matter of example, because others are watching how you respond to pressure even when they do not speak about it openly. I am trying to warn you because your decisions influence more than your own life, and the strength you display in restraint may inspire someone else to trust me more deeply. If you skip this and choose convenience over conviction, you may unintentionally teach others that compromise is acceptable when pressure increases. I am begging you to hear me because your life carries weight beyond what you see, and your obedience echoes further than you imagine. Write 14 inches the comments as a sign that you choose conviction over convenience. My child, you have asked me in past seasons to refine you and to make you wiser, and refinement often comes through moments exactly like this, where clarity must be honored. I am trying to warn you because wisdom is not formed through information alone, but through decisions that align with truth, despite discomfort. When you choose obedience now, you are not only avoiding trouble but strengthening the foundation of discernment that will guide you for years to come. I am begging you to hear me, because the investment you make in discipline today will yield stability tomorrow. There is also a deeper trust being tested, because part of you wonders whether my restraint is limiting your progress rather than protecting it. I am trying to warn you that what feels like limitation is often redirection towards something more suitable for your calling. If you push beyond the boundary I have placed, you may gain speed temporarily, but lose alignment with the path designed specifically for you. I am begging you to hear me, because true advancement comes from walking in step with me, not from outrunning my guidance. You may be tempted to reinterpret the warning in a softer way so that you can justify moving forward anyway, and that temptation is subtle yet powerful. I'm trying to warn you because self-persuasion can be stronger than external pressure. And once you convince yourself that caution is unnecessary, you close your ears to further correction. Guard your thoughts carefully in this moment, because the reasoning you choose to embrace will shape your next action. I'm begging you to hear me because clarity requires honesty within your own heart. What's really behind the 7-second brain trick exploding online? A leaked CIA ritual is turning heads and bank balances. Backed by neuroscience labs, this at-home method removes money blocks and unlocks unstoppable wealth flow. But the page could vanish anytime. Click the link in the first comment before it's permanently deleted. The trouble I am shielding you from may also involve long-term consequences that extend into areas you have not considered, such as financial strain that accumulates quietly or emotional fatigue that reduces your resilience. I am trying to warn you because these outcomes would not be immediate disasters, but gradual drains that weaken your confidence over time. When you notice your energy decreasing and your enthusiasm fading, you may trace it back to a decision made in haste. I am begging you to hear me, because you deserve to flourish with strength rather than survive through exhaustion. My child, reflect on how many times I have guided you away from unseen danger before, even when you did not fully understand why doors closed unexpectedly. Those closed doors were protection, not rejection, and you later recognized the wisdom in what I prevented. I am trying to warn you now in the same loving way, asking you to trust that I see beyond the present appeal. If you skip this and insist on forcing an opening, you may later wish you had allowed me to close what was not meant for you. There is peace available to you right now if you choose to surrender this decision completely into my hands and wait for unmistakable assurance. I am trying to warn you because peace is the signal I use to confirm alignment, and if peace is absent, movement should be delayed. I am begging you to hear me because acting without peace is like building on unstable ground that may not collapse immediately but will not endure pressure well. When I say this is my last attempt regarding this matter, I am emphasizing the seriousness of your opportunity to choose wisely while clarity is strong. I will not withdraw my presence if you choose differently, yet I desire to see you spared from preventable struggle. I am trying to warn you because love does not remain silent when a beloved child stands near a harmful path. Listening to God now is not surrendering your freedom but strengthening your future. There has been growth in you that others cannot fully see, and there has been healing in places that once felt permanently broken. I am begging you to hear me, because one careless step taken against clear conviction can interrupt progress that took years of surrender and endurance to establish. You may think that one decision cannot possibly affect so much, yet you underestimate how powerfully alignment shapes the flow of your life. When you walk in agreement with my voice, doors open naturally, strength renews itself, and provision appears at the right moment without strain. When you step outside of that agreement, even slightly, you begin striving instead of flowing, and striving drains the very peace you have been praying to maintain. I am trying to warn you because I see the fork in your path, and one direction keeps you in rhythm with my design, while the other creates friction that will slow you down more than you expect. Write 444 inches the comments as a declaration that you choose divine alignment over human urgency. My child, I know the pressure feels intense, and I know there is a part of you that wants resolution quickly because uncertainty is uncomfortable. You prefer clarity and closure, and the option before you seems to promise exactly that. I am trying to warn you because quick closure is not always true peace. and sometimes what feels like resolution is merely distraction from deeper preparation. If you skip this caution and move simply to relieve tension, you may later realize that you exchanged lasting stability for temporary relief. There is also an unseen spiritual battle connected to this moment, because every time you are about to step into greater purpose, resistance increases subtly. The enemy does not always confront you with obvious darkness, but often tempts you with acceptable distractions that pull you slightly off course. I am trying to warn you because this is one of those subtle attempts to redirect your focus just enough to delay what I have planned. I am begging you to hear me because your obedience now will close a door the enemy hoped to use against you later. Write 18 inches the comments as a sign that you are standing firm against distraction. My child, I want you to remember how many times you have thanked me for protecting you from decisions that seemed right at the time, but later revealed hidden consequences. You have looked back before and said that you were grateful for delays that once frustrated you. I am trying to warn you now in that same protective way, even if part of you feels impatient or uncertain. If you skip this and push forward anyway, you may eventually see the wisdom in my caution, but you will also carry lessons that did not need to be learned through hardship. The huge trouble I have been speaking about could involve layers of complication that gradually entangle your schedule, your finances, and your emotional capacity. It may begin with enthusiasm and promises, yet promises without foundation eventually reveal cracks. I am trying to warn you because those cracks would demand your energy to repair, and that energy is meant to be invested in your calling rather than in damage control. I am begging you to hear me because you are not meant to spend your strength cleaning up avoidable consequences. You may wonder why my voice feels so persistent in this matter, and the answer is simple yet profound. I am persistent because you matter deeply to me, and your future carries weight in my eternal design. I am trying to warn you because I see potential in you that extends far beyond this moment, and I refuse to allow a short-sighted decision to hinder what I have carefully orchestrated. When I say listen to God now, I am inviting you into partnership with my foresight, instead of relying solely on your present understanding. There is also a lesson of trust woven into this situation that goes beyond the immediate choice. Trust is strengthened when you obey even without full explanation, and that kind of trust builds intimacy between us. I am trying to warn you because I desire that intimacy more than I desire your comfort. If you skip this and choose your own reasoning over my guidance, you may create distance in your spirit that takes time to restore fully. The secret ritual they never wanted public is finally out. A 7-second brain technique, backed by leaked CIA data and 4 neuroscience labs, is helping families erase debt and attract money on autopilot. But this miracle won't stay public long. Click the link in the description and comments now before it's gone forever. My child, do not mistake my warning as rejection of your desires, because I placed many of those desires within you. I am simply shaping the path through which those desires are fulfilled, so that they bring joy rather than regret. I am trying to warn you because fulfillment without foundation collapses quickly, and I want your blessings to endure. I am begging you to hear me because patience is protecting something far greater than what impatience is offering. Imagine the relief you will feel when time passes, and you realize that your restraint spared you from complications that could have consumed months or years. That relief will be quiet but powerful, and it will confirm that obedience was not loss but wisdom. I am trying to warn you so that you experience that relief instead of regret. You are not weak for hesitating when peace is absent, and you are not foolish for waiting when clarity is incomplete. My child, this moment is shaping your spiritual maturity more than you realize. Each time you choose to listen rather than rush, you strengthen your ability to discern truth in future seasons. I am trying to warn you because your future will include larger responsibilities, and larger responsibilities require refined sensitivity to my voice. If you honor my guidance now, you will step into those responsibilities with confidence rather than confusion. Take another pause and examine whether full peace truly fills your heart regarding this decision. If peace is partial or uncertain, that uncertainty itself is peace, my signal to wait. I am begging you to hear me because I am not trying to withhold joy but to guard it carefully. The blessings ahead of you are real and already forming, and they do not require you to compromise or rush to receive them. There is a layer of subtle pressure increasing from outside influences, and it is attempting to create urgency that feels justified and reasonable. You may notice that people expect a quick answer, and their expectations make you feel as though delay equals weakness. I am trying to warn you because urgency manufactured by others is not the same as direction given by me. If you skip this warning and respond merely to meet expectations, you may later discover that those expectations were temporary, while the consequences of your agreement remain long-lasting. Write 111 the comments as a declaration that you stand with me above all external pressure. My child, the huge trouble I have been cautioning you about is not simply a mistake, but a chain of events that could gradually entangle you in commitments that limit your freedom to respond when better opportunities arise. You may think you can manage it, and perhaps for a short time you can, but over months the weight will increase in ways you cannot fully anticipate. I am trying to warn you because I see the cumulative effect of small compromises, and they rarely remain small for long. I am begging you to hear me, because freedom preserved now will allow you to step confidently into what I have prepared without regret. There is also a temptation to silence your inner caution by surrounding yourself with voices that agree with what you already want to hear. I am trying to warn you because selective counsel can feel affirming while quietly reinforcing misalignment. When you only listen to voices that support your impulse, you distance yourself from correction that could protect you. I am begging you to hear me, because true wisdom sometimes challenges your desire before it confirms it. Write 1313 in the comments as a sign that you are willing to receive correction. My child, consider how many times you have thanked me for intervening in situations that later revealed hidden complications. You have experienced my protection before, even when you did not immediately recognize it. I am trying to warn you now in the same protective spirit, asking you to trust that my foresight extends beyond the visible surface of this opportunity. If you skip this and proceed anyway, you may later acknowledge that my caution was accurate, yet you will also carry the burden of navigating consequences that obedience could have prevented. The enemy often operates through subtle misdirection rather than obvious rebellion, and that misdirection is especially effective when it appeals to your desire for stability and progress. I am trying to warn you because the option before you appears responsible and practical, yet it carries threads that could tie you into obligations you did not fully evaluate. I am begging you to hear me because careful examination now will protect your peace later. My child, your peace is a sacred indicator that should not be ignored. When peace feels unsettled, it is not weakness, but awareness that something requires further discernment. I am trying to warn you because the restlessness you sense is not random anxiety, but my spirit urging you to slow down. If you push through that restlessness to force a decision, you may later feel the weight of acting against clear hesitation.